Morning.
Another beautiful day in the markets. Lots of craziness going on this week, as always.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week. It's Friday, 21st. What's up? Who wants to start? Andrew, I think you
Yeah, I can
have the
start here.
best.
Markets are up. That's what.
Well, it was up for a little bit. It pretty much in my community, like I've been talking about this little price action for the past week. We knew that FOMC was coming up this midweek, and so we felt like a lot of the market was going to be front running, especially because last week on Friday, the equities market did close out much higher than everybody was expecting. So it gave the crypto kind of a nice green light. And as you can see, for the past week, we've just been slowly grinding back. We did just finally fill this 86K gap. We've been watching this gap for quite some time now. And, we did have some bullish divs. So we had some momentum signals as well. We also came right into a 200 SMA support level. So there were some indication that there was going to be a bit of a rally. We had a nice little double bottom as well. The thing is we did hit our objective, and we did get past the FOMC event now. So this kind of looks like a lot of just profit taking from the front runners, as well as just like sell the news type event. But it's still too early to call this quite a bottom or to call this quite over yet. I think what's happening is we're just going to be consolidating now. You can see that we're in kind of a bit of a moving average sandwich here. So we're probably just going to have to be bouncing probably back and forth for a little bit, and then maybe consolidate to hopefully another wider W type structure. And if we can get those, then we would have more of a chance, I think. But in the short term right now, I am just looking at the 38.2 level as kind of like our main kind of resistance level, and then just slightly above the the 87K area as well. Looking at the indicators, right, we do have bull divs and stuff. But if you look on Ethereum, what I did like about Ethereum more is we are in this reload zone. So we are like kind of right back into this bottom of range off of this price action range that we've had. And generally in these green boxes, these reload zones was where you would expect to see at least some support step in. So on ETH, we did get these nice double bottoms on the daily breakout. And we do have this potential, this is a lot larger bull div. We have one confirmed on this one right here. But as you can see, we got a much wider one coming in soon. So if that couldn't come in, then I do feel like we do have more room to possibly run. And we are quite oversold on Ethereum. So we got the breakout, and I think now we're just kind of getting the Wyckoff check. So we are retesting the original breakout to see whether this market wants to continue. So today is a big quarterly option expiry for the US. So I think the market's also going to have a lot of volatility. So I think we will see some swings, hopefully to the upside, while we kind of have these momentum indicators on our side. Looking at the crypto total market cap as well, we are kind of consolidating against this 38.2. So this is kind of like your first stop. Usually after a massive move, the market's going to come down and pause around the 38.2 level. And then this is where you start to see consolidation, especially if you want to see a trend kind of continuing back up to the top side. We do have confirmed bullish div on the MACD. So there is room for this to run. We do have some double bottoms as well. So hopefully, I'm hoping like we can get a continued rally. I'm hoping most of the selling was just the profit taking, and then we can kind of resume. But we'll just have to wait, I think, probably till the U.S. market opens, and then we'll probably have a clearer picture then.
Pop over to that Bitcoin chart again there. I see you've got the, I can't remember the full name of it, the bull market at the band at the bottom there with the green and blue dots.
Oh yeah, this is the hash ribbon signals.
Hash ribbon indicator. Yeah, so we had that green print. The first green that printed, it got really close. I think it got down to within a day of printing the blue, and then we saw it just diverge from each other again there. We got a second print of that green. When do you think we get that final? We get that blueprint that, I mean, that's what a lot of people are looking for as indicator that we bottomed and we're ready to really start heading back up again.
Yeah,
really close.
That'd definitely be the best, just because anytime we get the buy signal on the hash ribbon, it usually indicates quite a bit of a bullish trend. And the last couple times we got a back-to-back, it did print us a pretty decent return. So I think we're just waiting. I'm honestly not sure when that will be. Maybe once we start getting some like weekly W's. So I was looking at the weekly charts of things, and we are starting to form the first leg, I guess you can call it. For me, generally, we know the market is turning back is once we start getting these weekly W-shaped structures, just like how we know the market's topping once we get these weekly M's, right? We have to wait to see these weekly W's form, and they'll take quite a bit of time. So I think we're still kind of weeks away from seeing some kind of major bottom shift.
From my side, I think we're getting to the bottom. I'm still thinking like we're still in a little bear market. This is definitely not the end, but before the macro environment gets better, we will see more red days for sure. But overall, looks like we're finally getting a little bit more bullish, to be honest.
Are you sure about that, Jan? I saw Peter Schiff posting that it's all over, that this is the time has finally come this week for Bitcoiners. He's only posted that like 13 or 14 times a year the last 10 years. So
nice.
Got to be right this time.
Yeah. Well, we need more people like that. We need more people coming out saying it's over, it's game over, that they're done. And then you'll know, like by sentiment alone, like we're getting pretty close to the bottom there.
Well, there's one person in particular we need to come out and tell us it's over, and that's Mr. Jim Cramer. So, once he says it, bull market back on, baby.
Nathan, it's all yours.
Well, yeah, let me jump in here because we were just talking about bull market, bear market. How are we defining this? In an interview earlier this week, Cathie Wood, obviously still bullish, saying Bitcoin to hit 1.5 million by, well, I think there's a little typo there. I think that's meant to be 2030, not 2230. But yeah, by 2030, Bitcoin at $1.5 million. Cathie Wood probably only she'd be the queen of all bulls. Michael Saylor obviously being the king of all bulls. But Digital News Asset, really great channel. If you don't follow him, he's a great follow. Lots of good info there. But anyways, he's saying we are in a bearish market. How are you guys defining this? Are we in a bear market? Are we in a crypto winter? Are we in a bull market with just a regular sideways consolidation or retrace? How are you guys labeling this? I've been on a lot of calls and heard a lot of different opinions on this. Would love to see what you guys think of our current market posture.
Yeah, I can go first. I think because we are doing a lot of OTC and we are in the secondary markets, we can basically see the flow. We can see like if there is a lot of buyers, they usually come to us and buy it on discounts. At the moment, there's been a phase from December. Actually, let's say December end of or the beginning of January when like there was actually almost no buy action. So on OTC, the asks and bids were too far away. So what does it mean? It means that the sellers were asking too much and the buyers were asking too little. I think we're still a little bit on the bear market. We're recovering this week. We're seeing more flow coming in. I could say that this is a sideways action, but I still think like the alts are bleeding. Look at like almost all the top 100 alts. They're on almost all-time lows. Before that, also like Andrew was showing the total market cap of crypto. It's been going down quite a lot. So for me, I'm bearish. I think we're on the bear market still. Andrew, all to you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, like when we look on the longer time frame of things, I think we are still kind of in a bull market. I think it's normal to get these kind of big corrections, right? Like getting your 38.2s to like 50% kind of corrections. But obviously right now we're stuck in a downtrend, right? So, you look, when I was looking at the charts, we look at these weekly tops. Once I start seeing those weekly double tops, I think we are stuck in a downtrend. And so we're no longer in this bullish uptrend. We're still technically in a bull market because I don't think it's quite over yet. But for the trend being right now, I think we're definitely stuck in this downtrend. And it's being tested right now with the current bottoms that they're trying to form. So we'll see. I still think more is waiting on the swing side of things.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, we've seen drops like this and consolidation periods like this in the past in what we consider, bull cycles or bull runs, the previous cycles where we've seen up to a 60% drop, and it's taken, 6 months or so to get back to the previous all-time high from that, as the market downtrended there. I think probably the biggest factor that's different this time, and that's got people really feeling bearish and really feeling like it is a full-on, crypto winter, is that we never got the alt season this time. And all the previous cycles, we had an alt season before we had this kind of, mid-market or, major correction or multiple major corrections in the markets, but everything else is pumping. To this cycle, we've only had these kind of niche mini bull runs and a few alts popping off. We haven't seen the market-wide alt run, and because of that, because things like pre-sales and IDOs and altcoins have just been suffering so much, it's kind of felt, unless you've just been heavily in Bitcoin and have been able to nail some of these niche mini bull runs like AI, for example, or memes, it's kind of felt like we've been in a bear market for well over a year now. I don't know if you guys have had a bit of that same feeling or talked to people that have had similar sentiment of while Bitcoin's been going up, everything else has been suffering, and too many of us are heavily into alts right now.
Yeah, from my side, I think it's because of Pump.Fun. We had 5-minute cycles. I call them 5-minute cycles because that's what basically anything that launches on Pump.Fun, the cycle is 5 minutes. But yeah, it's definitely different. It's definitely not like the old days where you could just put on a good angel round or seed round and get 10x. It's definitely harder now. But I think that's changing. I saw the statistics from yesterday. I think there were 200 projects launched on Pump.Fun, and there were not a single one that actually got into a launch stage. So I think that's good. We're actually getting to a point where we are again looking at fundamentals. So let's see.
Either that or the market's depressed. and then once the activity comes back, it's the same stats, right? That's my fear.
Yeah, I do like seeing the bonding rate at Pump.Fun is almost down to 0. And we went from seeing a million tokens there launching a day to now I think it was 750 the other day. So the meme hype is definitely coming down. Is it going to come back? Absolutely. Will it come back at the same levels? I don't think so. I definitely do think enough people got burned and burned bad enough with memes multiple times that they're going to be looking for more utility plays. So hopefully we see the pre-sales and the IDO markets come back as well. But memes will definitely have some sort of resurgence as the rest of the market does come back as well. Speaking of Pump.Fun, some 2 interesting stories. It looks like Radium and Pump.Fun are going to war. Radium, the most popular DEX on Solana, announcing that they're launching their own Pump.Fun. And 2 days later, Pump.Fun announcing that they're dropping Radium and opening their own DEX. So the Solana meme war is still on. It's going on behind the scenes with the 2 heavyweights, Pump.Fun and Radium, duking it out. Now, I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on this. One, we don't need another Pump.Fun. There's already a million of them out there. The original can die, and I think it'd be better for the market. But seeing Radium launch any kind of tech, if you guys have ever used Radium, creating better tech than the market is not necessarily their specialty. They're the biggest on Solana in terms of DEXs just because they were the first that happened to be out there. Their tech's absolute garbage. So I don't know how they're not really known for being innovators in the space. So not super excited thinking that their Pump.Fun is gonna rip. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the Pump.Fun Radium debacle going on here?
I think it's desperate grass.
Yeah. Thank God we have innovation in this. In here, I think it's a strategic competition between themselves. I mean, if you think of Pump.Fun, they have a huge treasury. I think that they're gonna do some M&A in the future. They're gonna start doing some acquisitions. I don't know if they're gonna pivot to some other change very aggressively. But if you think of them, if the stats yesterday and week before, they've been very bad. They had no fees. they have they do have users. So how to utilize them? I think DEX is a good way of doing that. Obviously, like there is a lot of DEX already. I think they should do a wallet app or an app to capture more and maybe even buy an exchange. I don't know, but I see this is again, what is Solana used for? It's for memes. Uh, Maybe at some point they actually have some huge innovation that they come with, but I don't know. I'm not bullish on this, but I understand their logic.
But hey, they haven't had to shut down their entire network in like 6 months now, so that's positive, I suppose.
True that. Andrew, what's your take?
Yeah, I think Pumpfun will probably win the war against Radium. I think it's a no-brainer play, in my opinion. But it'll be interesting to see how the market reacts. I mean, I think the market already dumped on Radium when they first heard about it, right? So the market clearly lost confidence. And yeah, like trading on Radium is a nightmare. Like,
Yeah,
it's not the most efficient way of trading. So definitely think Pumpfun has the edge. So it will be interesting to see, where they go from there. It'd be really cool if they actually went into the perp side of things, and then you can start shorting these like small caps. That could be a quite interesting sector there.
Yeah, I think the thing that's got me most interested with it is both of these companies have a shitload of cash. So this could get very interesting if they really heat this battle up and start throwing money behind their different perspective, new tech offerings. It could that could be what fuels the rise of the new meme coin nonsense. Would be a battle between Radium and Pumpfun, two of the most cash heavy projects out there right now. But interesting stuff. We'll see as the market resumes, because right now none of it really matters. Solana's dead and memes are dead. Nothing's really happening over there. So we talked a bit, probably definitely the biggest topic this week was the FOMC. We talked about how the markets have responded to that already, pumping up over 86,000. I think it topped around 87,400 or something like that. What are the long-term downstream repercussions that we're going to be seeing from the FOMC? Jerome Powell came out, no real announcements, kept rates the same, but overall had a pretty dovish posture, which the market has responded well to. What are we thinking 2-3 months down the road? What's going to happen in the coming FOMC meetings based off what you guys have heard about this week's decisions?
Yeah, my take is here that Trump is trying to destroy the economy so he can refinance US with his debt. I don't know. I think 3 months ahead, it's going to be hard. We will start printing money at some point. That will always happen. That will never change. And it's just a matter of time. That's my simple answer. What's yours, Andrew?
Yeah, similar. Clearly Trump is forcing, Powell's hand to try to get these rate cuts. So he's doing everything he can. We do have the tariff stuff coming on April 2nd. So in about a week or two, just slightly. And so I feel like they're going to play these games until Powell has no choice but to cut rates. So he's already kind of like indicating like we're slowing down QT. And so we are just kind of getting closer and closer to that window of QE. And then obviously once that kind of rolls in, then things can kind of settle out. But, 3 months from now is quite a lot of time. I think right now we're just kind of going week by week based on whatever Trump says and stuff. So, yeah.
Tariffs are still here. Tariffs are still with Canada.
Yeah, from my side, I think if you're not a day trader type of person, if you're an investor, a DCA or a hodler, whatever you want to call yourself, if you're not using this opportunity right now to DCA in on your highest conviction plays, to go through sector by sector, look at the hottest sectors, AI, RWA, DeSci, even memes, going through the blue chip memes and DCAing into the top things. What the hell are you doing? We know how this goes. Like, they're going to continue to keep things suppressed until we cut rates, until quantitative tightening stops and quantitative easing starts. We get past the war in Europe. We get past these trade wars. It might take 3 months. It might take 6 months. But at some point, these markets are going to move violently to the upside, and we have some absolutely amazing buys, some fire sales on some amazing blue chip tokens that, 2 months ago, 3 months ago in January, you were FOMOing over and bitching about how you missed your entry and you wish you would have bought more, and it's too late now, yada yada. Well, now you're getting well below most of those prices right now. So that's kind of my whole statement on this. We know it's just a matter of time before the Fed pivots. We know it's a matter of time before they cut rates and start printing money again. And we all know what happens once we get past those things, we get past these trade wars. And so I'm just looking at all this as an opportunity. The longer we want to go sideways, in my opinion, the better.
Yeah, no, I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And something I think that is, adding to all of this, kind of stoking the fire, or getting, I guess, the fuel ready for the upcoming fire, the upcoming rip here, is if you zoom out and or I guess if you niche down and you don't focus on the macroeconomics, what's going on in the world with the war in Europe, the trade wars, the battle between Powell and Trump. If you just look at what's been going on in crypto, it's been almost nothing but nonstop crazy bullish news that in previous cycles would have pumped Bitcoin 50% by itself, any one of those stories. Meanwhile, we're seeing story after story after story after story, week after week after week from major XRP and Pulse Chain and Coinbase beating the SEC and them dropping cases. The SEC coming out and ruling that meme coins aren't assets. New regulations coming in. The strategic reserve getting signed. It's just been hit after hit after hit after hit. The digital asset summits that we're having. I know the markets, the numbers are down. We know that's a factor of the larger economic picture, but you can't lose sight of what's going on in the crypto industry. We're seeing lots and lots of bullish action happening right now.
No, absolutely. Like I'm hearing also more and more that the tax reliefs are coming to crypto in the United States. I can see the institutionals' interest coming in from secondaries, from M&A, from OTC. Like, there's definitely a huge shift in the United States. We can see on the M&A side, big players coming in, and we will cover it a little bit later. But I mean, if you don't look at the macroeconomics, crypto is very bullish, and that's kind of like the opposite what I'm saying still. Like, we are on the bearish trend. I think we are in a bear market in a way, despite BTC is pumping. You're totally right. We didn't have an alt season almost at all, but I think we are in a very positive way going further. I think 3-6 months and we might see an all-time high. I don't know, but at least like all these things that are happening in the United States, they are very bullish. Unfortunately, Europe is on the backbone. They don't understand what to do with crypto. Mika came along, so we have now rules. But yeah, like, I'm very bullish on what's happening in the United States. I think Trump and his associates have been doing a pretty good job. Like, there's going to be the Stablecoin Act coming along and so forth. A lot of good things. But again, who knows? Maybe we have another Trump coin coming along and we rug everyone.
Well, that is some news. There is a huge Melania unlock. I think it's today, actually. If you look at I can't remember what's Crypto Rank has a list of a lot of unlocks happening this week. There's been quite a few significant ones, and one of those this week is Melania token unlocking. So if you are a Trump or Melania holder, be aware of that. You got some unlocks coming here.
Yeah, didn't Melania rank already? I'm surprised it's still up.
Time to short.
Yeah.
Jan, you mentioned the acquisitions market getting busy. Big news on that front this week. Kraken and NinjaTrader combined for the largest TradFi plus crypto acquisition in history. I think you have some insights on that. You were talking about that a bit earlier. What's going on there?
Yeah, my connection is again a little bit ripping, but hopefully that doesn't matter. This is actually very bullish news. Like, this is one of the biggest acquisitions in crypto in a while. I don't know if it's the biggest in history. There is another, I think, that Coinbase made last year, but like, this is $1.5 billion. NinjaTrader is basically a US-based company that does a lot of perps in traditional markets. And I think what the exchanges are doing is that they've done so many acquisitions inside of crypto that they need to start doing outside of crypto. And basically all of these biggest exchanges are going to eventually be trading like US stocks, gold, all kind of equities, all kind of different markets. And this is very strategic. I think this is very good also. Like we're becoming more and more mature. It's not only memes, shitcoins, and so forth. But my biggest question will be like how the liquidity is gonna go from these different like traditional exchanges to crypto. It might be actually very bullish, and we see more and more traders because obviously you cannot trade the stock market yet 24/7. I think that's going to happen next year in 2026, but definitely a strategic acquisition. I see these happening more and more. And I'm also happy to say that we are working with some of the top tier exchanges with similar projects and trying to source them some new opportunities. But this is very bullish, and I totally understand why Kraken is doing it. They need new users, they need new geographics, and they also need new tech. So this is like a perfect acquisitions for them.
Well, coming off the back of that, we've got a hot announcement in the acquisition M&A area here. You want to tell us a bit about the Web3's largest game plus marketplace launchpad ready for growth that just hit the market here?
Yeah, I'm very happy for this. So just an update on Acquire.Fi side. Like lately, at least this year and in December, we started getting more and more of these like tier one projects. We're actually working privately with some of the other like very well-known launchpads, very well-known exchanges, and we are becoming like the place to go to if you are buying or selling your crypto startup. This startup especially is one of the biggest in the Web3 gaming sector. They have games plus a launchpad sector. They made good money, and the founders are willing to let go of their business. I think this is good for whoever is in the gaming sector, or even if you are in Web2 and you're looking to expand into the gaming sector in Web3, it is a perfect opportunity. But yeah, happy to talk about it later once it gets more matured. But yeah, if there's anyone out there looking for Web3 gaming and is wanting to buy something that has already been established, is really made and also customers pretty well, this is the place to go.
Message me on Twitter. I'm the guy you want to talk to first.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm very bullish. M&A is very much pumping. I'm so happy about this, and we're getting more and more of this.
Absolutely. Aside from the FOMC and some of these major listings, it's been a relatively quiet week on crypto Twitter. Typically, when we see a quiet week on crypto Twitter, everybody has to find some story to bandwagon on and talk about how it's the worst thing that's ever happened to crypto. And one of those this week, there was a couple of them, was Kevin O'Leary had the gall to come out and say that newbies coming into crypto should probably stick to a centralized exchange like Coinbase because it's easier for them to onboard and it's a little bit safer for them. And crypto Twitter absolutely lost their shit over this. Almost every major voice out there calling him all kinds of names. Your fellow Canadian compatriot was really getting drugged through the mud this week, Andrew. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of Mr. Wonderful. In fact, a lot of times I think, especially when it comes to crypto, his takes are awful. But here, I didn't really see what he says wrong. He basically came out and said, hey, there's a lot of pitfalls in DeFi. It's very complicated for a newbie to get into. A lot of ways you can lose money or be scammed. So for beginners that want to get into crypto, why don't you? It's much safer and easier for you to use a centralized exchange. I mean, that seems like great advice to me. If my dad, for example, we've got a lot of people that aren't just maybe bad at onboarding with Web3 tech, but tech in general. Like we know what kind of a nightmare hellscape the DeFi landscape is. The UX UI really just isn't there yet, and that's on us. That's on us as an industry, not on the users coming in. So I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on this? I just did not understand people land basting Mr. Wonderful over this week.
He's the best we have in Canada, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have a position here. I don't really care about this guy or what he has to say. I mean, he makes a fair point. Like, look, if you're new at crypto, like the probably easiest onboarding way is just going through a central exchange. You know, having to learn how to set up wallets, understanding, you know, you can get phished and like, you know, accept wrong contracts pretty easily. Happens quite often. So, you know, anybody who's just starting off, yeah, maybe that is the easier route and, you know, somewhat safer, I guess. But, you know, you quickly learn, like, you know, if it ain't your keys, it's not your tokens, right? So, yeah, I mean, people just love hating him. You know, he's a famous guy, right? You know,
Sure.
It's your main character. It's easy to get flamed.
Well, I think they just completely look past the bigger picture of what's going on here. Like this whole, like, this is a primetime Fox News segment, right? He's sitting with a Trump in a Bitcoin bar where you can buy beer using Bitcoin. Like, why are we not focusing on like how far industry? Like, look how great this is. They're in, I think, New York City at a Bitcoin bar, sitting with Trump, the most bullish administration ever, and you know, one of the biggest faces in finance, Mr. Wonderful, talking about onboarding people into crypto. And instead of like, you know, praising this and talking about how awesome it is that we're getting this kind of traction, instead we're like, fuck this guy. He said to use a centralized exchange, like, you know, completely just like missing the opportunity here to look at the positive side of what's going on with this story.
Yeah, I think also like, obviously he was a big backer of FTX. He's still basically having that inside of like behind his back, and I think that's affecting his opinion for sure. But I think he's right. Like, I've been saying this for a while. Like, it's very hard for a beginner to get into this industry. Uh, I'm onboarding like almost every month someone new, and just talking about Bitcoin, it's or crypto and Web3. Like, it is hard, man. Like saving your keys and all of these different scams that are coming through now, they're going to be more and more sophisticated because of AI. Like, I kind of agree with him. Like, hey, centralized places for a beginner is good. Obviously, if you have Bitcoin, it's the easiest way of storing a ledger. I don't think that's so hard. But like, once you start doing DeFi and some other things, man, it's hard. It's very sophisticated. I'm very proud of my dad, who can basically, he's plus 70 and he can still do shitcoining and DeFi and all of those other things, and he hasn't been hacked. So very proud of him. But yeah, I do agree with him on this, despite he's an asshole. We're still far away.
Yeah, no, I agree on both those comments. One, that he's an asshole. Like I said, I don't like defending the guy, but in this case, you know, let's pick on him for the bad shit he says. When he comes out and says something reasonable, I don't know why we're attacking him for that. But the other point that you made in terms of the overall industry, I think that was the other thing that we can take away from this, is that this wouldn't be an issue if we develop better DeFi tech. And that's, again, it's on us as an industry. This should be a wake-up call to us to say, hey, we have a massive problem here. Mr. Wonderful's right. We hate to admit it. We don't like the guy, but he's right. Right now, centralized exchanges are the safest and best option for new people onboarding into crypto. That should be a wake-up call for all the builders, all the investors, and even all of us degens in Web3. Just say, okay, we need to work on having better tech so that we can onboard people into DeFi, which is the ultimate goal. So yeah, again, I just thought CT completely missed the boat on this one, and went on attack mode for absolutely no reason. Found that kind of funny, and want to get you guys' take on that. So there was another. We already talked about that. Probably one last story, I think, to wrap up here. We covered most of the key stuff we wanted to look at here. I know Andrew's got to take off in a little bit here, but one of the other big stories of the last couple of weeks is the Hyperliquid whale has been doing all sorts of naughty stuff on Hyperliquid, whether it's rugging the platform for $4 million, and then now he was everybody was trying to get him liquidated this week with his was it $320 million Bitcoin short earlier this week that he's now flipped to long. Zaki XBT, if you're not familiar with him, he is the Sherlock Holmes of the blockchain. He is the guy that helps hunt down a lot of hackers and malfeasance on the network. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Do we need Zach going after the hyper liquid whale? As far as I know, he's done nothing illegal. Maybe he's done some shady shit and some maybe not the most moral, I guess you could say, but nothing he's done has been illegal.
Yeah, I want to take here. Yeah, okay, maybe Andrew, you go first then.
Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say like on this hyperliquid stuff, like the more we have decentralized system, the more like faulty plays you can do. Obviously, this is the first time in history like you can see someone going 50x long on a 500 million or 350 million dollar position, and you can have the whole CT going after him, which is kind of awesome. But at the same time, like if you're doing this sophisticated, you can actually start laundering pretty big amount of money because obviously you can leave the bad debt there, take the profits, and basically take your profits out of hyperliquid, and now you have clean money.
Best money laundering.
Yeah.
No KYC, nothing.
Yeah, but hey, I don't know. Like it's again, do we want decentralized system where it's permissionless and no matter who government will come, you can do whatever you want, or do we want a centralized system where we have KYC, we have AML rules, and so forth? It's a never-ending battle, and I think this topic will become more and more like out there during Trump administration.
Yeah,
we
might actually start seeing more regulations. Especially if like you get this constant wave of bad actors, laundering money, like the Lazarus groups, for example, right? I think eventually the big boys are gonna step in and be like, well, look, we're gonna have to start restricting some dexes and stuff like that. I think this just kind of brings more light to that. But who knows? I mean, I don't even know if they're actually even looking at dexes right now. So
they definitely have in the past. They've announced multiple times that they're going to go after dexes until this, which I believe would have happened unless the current administration, if the election had gone the other way, I think we'd be looking at a much different landscape, much different regulatory decisions going on. But yeah, dexes, anything that allows for any sort of anonymity on chain was being targeted. So glad that things went the way they did in terms of how it's going to help support this industry to grow. But no, I definitely agree. I think, not to get into they put on the tinfoil hat here, but some of the stuff we've seen in the past had a little too coincidental timing around when the big players and the U.S. government comes out and says, we need to crack down on this because look what just happened. I do not doubt we see more of that in the future at some point, especially as big money governments, major financial institutions start getting more money in the market. If they don't like things they can't control DeFi. And so I would definitely expect to see more of that in the future as these big players come into the market to use their buddies in the government to try to pass regulations, and those regulations will come with very convenient timing of some hacks and some innocent people losing their money on the DeFi thing and say see what happened here. We can't allow this to happen. We must take over power and regulate everything. And so I don't know. We see that in pretty much every other industry. Anytime people are having too much fun, getting a little too much freedom, that mysteriously a bad event happens, and then the government steps in and says, "See, we need to protect you from this." So I would expect the same in crypto.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Again, it's either permissionless, so you can do whatever you want with your money, or you have regulation where you have to report everything. Like in Europe. Europe is kind of like an extreme way of looking crypto at the moment. Like when you have to report every transaction that is over $1,000, it becomes not so good. The user experience is not there. And obviously, they're trying to. I understand their point. They're trying to get criminals, but I don't know. I'm
trying to get money.
Yeah, but I'm in the boat. Like, if I earn money, I should have the possibility to use that money however I want. I think freedom that we have now is going to get more and more crowded, or like, especially now when AI is coming, it's coming very difficult to be a freedom players, and when every country is now going hard on different tax taxes and all of these regulation. I don't know. But yeah, that's my point.
Interesting times ahead, gents. Interesting times ahead. I think we are just about out of time for the call here today. Andrew, thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me.
Looking forward to having you back on in the near future. Might make this a weekly thing. Jan, any final closing thoughts for us today?
No, I'm pretty happy, Andrew. Thanks for coming and giving your thoughts. Overall, please follow our channel. You guys know where to find us. And if there's any feedback or comments, please comment on the comment field. Nathan, any final words?
Yeah, thanks for everybody that's watching this right now. If you got any benefit out of this, if you enjoyed this, if it made you laugh, if you got some good alpha from this, please give it a like, give it a retweet, share it across your different social media platforms. Drop us a comment of what you want to hear us talk about next week. Really appreciate that. We don't make these just because we like to hear ourselves talk. I mean, not that we don't, but we do try and make these for you, try and bring a little knowledge, little insights into your Friday afternoon here. Thanks for watching. And until next time, if it's not your keys, it's not your crypto.